Have you ever been abducted by an alien? Me neither. What might surprise you, though, is that there's an official investigation of close encounters being conducted at Harvard University. One of the recent cases that caught our attention was the story told by a family named Knowles. The Knowles family say they ran headlong into an unidentified flying object in the middle of the West Australian desert. Official studies of the case reveal their story has unavoidable credibility, and, as Mary Hughes found out, one man has no doubt the Knowles saw something.
It was not the normal type of trauma that you see on the road. It was definitely some other encounter that they'd come across. These people were spooked.
What was it that so spooked a family driving across what's known as the dead heart of Australia? No one can say for sure, not even the Knowles family themselves.
Well, the best way to describe the experience was, it wasn't like reality, it was just like a dream, but it was real.
You couldn't say there is anything out of the ordinary about the Knowles family, Faye and her sons Patrick, Sean, and Wayne. But something out of the ordinary certainly happened to them on January 20th, 1988. They were driving the 2,000 miles from their home in Perth to Melbourne. It was 3 a.m. Sean was at the wheel. His brother Patrick was asleep beside him. The desert was cool and clear as they entered a desolate place called the Majora Pass in the middle of the vast Nullarbor Plain. Then, out of nowhere, Sean saw it. A dazzling white light headed straight for them. Sean panicked, tried to swerve out of the way, but still the object bore down on them. But that was only the beginning. Sean put his foot down and sped off along the highway.
It chased us for about a half hour, and then somehow it got in front of us. It must have went around us, and the faster we went, the faster this object went. And before we knew it, this object landed on a car.
Next, the unbelievable happened. To this day, the Knowles family is adamant that their car was actually lifted off the ground. If this is right, they were left suspended in midair. Sean, the driver, blacked out. The others became hysterical.
My mum was crying and screaming, just saying, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. And all I just thought was, my God, this is it, you know. I just thought, why us? God said, why us? And all I can remember then was we were dropped.
As the car crashed back to Earth, Sean regained consciousness. In terror, the family fled from the car and hid in the saltbush undergrowth. After a while, the object slowly moved away, and the Knowles headed to the nearest civilization, the Mundravilla Roadhouse. What they didn't know was that Melbourne truck driver Graham Henley had been driving on the same stretch of road that night. He arrived at the roadhouse just before dawn, just before the Knowles family.
This blue Telstar came in a hell of a hurry. And these three young fellas and their mother jumped out of it. They were all talking at once. And the funny noises that one of them was making, he was obviously scared, witless.
In fact, the Knowles family was so scared, Graham Henley didn't get around to telling them what he'd seen on the lonely Nullarbor Plain that night. A bright magnesium type of light.
It just swerved and veered all over one side of the vehicle and the other. What the heck's going on, you know? So I sort of accelerated a bit more and kept going, and all of a sudden it disappeared. Just faded almost to nothing. Back it came again, and I thought, goodness knows, must be a helicopter or a roo shooter or something like this, having a bit of fun, and I never took much more notice of it.
But after talking to the Knowles family at the roadhouse, Henley did take notice. In fact, he and another truck driver drove back to Majora Pass, where they found evidence that seemed to back up what the Knowles had said.
Everything was exactly where they'd turned around, the skid marks on the road, where they'd hidden in the bushes. One of the boys had cut the the tops of his toes in the gravel, and you could even see the little drops of blood on the gravel and the sand and stuff where it was.
The incident and the Knowles captured headlines around the world. The police were called in, and the Knowles car was impounded. Experts tested it, but they could find no concrete evidence of an alien encounter. And so that was where authorities let the matter rest.
Certainly, something happened to that family that early morning.
Keith Basterfield is an independent UFO researcher, and he actually took the trouble to investigate the Knowles case. His report is exhaustive, but it's also inconclusive.
The manner in which the whole external factors came to deal with that family, in fact, probably has ruined us ever really knowing.
Nevertheless, more than 6 years down the track, all the members of the Knowles family are still sticking to their story.
Oh, bloody oath, yeah. You betcha. They can think what they want, but I know what I know.